Just a short while from now, former US President Donald Trump is expected to launch a third White House bid. He plans to announce his candidacy from his Mar-a-Lago estate in Florida. The big announcement by Trump comes despite a dismal performance by the Republican loyalists in the midterm elections. Some Republicans, they've even blamed Trump for boosting a slate of extremist candidates who were ultimately rejected and did very little to motivate the base voters. Now, they are openly asking whether the twice impeached Trump, with his divisive brand of politics and mess of legal woes, is the right person to carry out the party colors in the upcoming elections.
We heard Trump announce that he was going to make a big announcement today, so we felt it very important that we be here. We only live in North Miami, an hour drive south, so.
Meanwhile, some Trump supporters wearing Make America Great Again outfits danced on a bridge leading to the former president's Palm Beach resort, waving flags that read Trump won 2024.
The president's making an announcement, and we're here to support him. We want to be here when he makes that announcement, and hopefully it's what everybody wants to hear.
Some Trump allies also urged the former U.S. president to wait until the 6th of December Georgia runoff election between Democratic Senator Raphael Warnock and Republican challenger Herschel Walker. However, Trump has ignored all of these requests. A recent YouGov poll in the days immediately after the midterms gave Ron DeSantis a 7-point lead over Trump among the Republican primary votes. Reports also suggest that the Republicans' failure to capture the Senate, it's raised some doubts about the former U.S. president's 2024 prospects. The 76-year-old billionaire also enters the race saddled with personal and professional legal battles that have not yet been resolved. Once again, we're being joined by our correspondent Susan Tehrani from New York. Susan, what can you tell us? Trump is all set for the big announcement, but there seems to be some divisions in the Republican Party on this issue.
Yeah, absolutely. There are divisions among the Republicans on whether or not, first of all, Donald Trump should have waited, as you rightly mentioned, after the Georgia runoffs, because they were concerned that the Georgia runoffs would once again become a referendum on Donald Trump. On the other hand, some say that Donald Trump, had already set up this announcement and he didn't want to back down. And so that's why he went ahead with it, among other reasons. So we'll have to wait and see, what he wants to say tonight. It's pretty clear. But on the one hand, Trump always does very well when he has his back against the wall. And he is still an extremely powerful figure within the Republican Party. He's a leader in the Republican Party. He is sitting on a lot of campaign donation and money, more than anyone else. He's the only person who has ran a national election, and he does have support among his base for the most part. What we saw happen in the midterm elections was that he really didn't, at least the candidates that he supported weren't favorable to the independents. And, that's the concern that a lot of Republicans right now have, is whether or not, moving for 2024, Trump will be able to be a viable candidate, not for the Republicans so much, but for those independent voters that ultimately decide general elections here in the United States.
Right, you're absolutely right. Trump does have a lot of supporters, but another face that has emerged as a potential candidate here, of course, Ron DeSantis, a 7-point lead over Trump among the Republican primary votes as per recent polls. So how do you assess that?
Yeah, Ron DeSantis is really a favorite among many. They see him as a rising star. We saw how successful he was in Florida. If there was a red wave during the midterms, it was in Florida, and partially it was to Ron DeSantis because, Florida used purple state on one hand, and on the other hand, we saw that Ron DeSantis didn't run on so much Donald Trump's, first of all, election denial policies, but he ran on his own Republican agenda, and that was favorable to voters. On the other hand, you know, he's someone that's favored within the Republican establishment and the Republican Party as well. And, you know, he's someone that, you know, many favor. But again, ultimately, it comes down to whether or not he wants to run, Ron DeSantis, first of all. And second of all, it'll come down to whether or not, you know, someone like Ron DeSantis can put Donald Trump aside during primaries. I do remember at one time Jeb Bush was a rising star. Wisconsin's Scott Walker was a rising star. But then, you know, when Donald Trump came in the field, you know, it was sort of game over. Now, you can argue that these are different times. 2016 was a lot different than now. But we'll have to wait and see. Yeah.
Right. All right, Susan, thank you so much for bringing us all the latest on this. We will continue to track this very closely with you. WION is now available in your country. Download the app now. Get all the news on the move.